Hello, Superboy Legacy fans. This is your Superboy fact checker, Chris Jacobsen. Here with me, as always, is our season 5 showrunner, Tom Gallagher. Hey, Tom.
Hey, Chris. How you doing?
I'm doing pretty good, even though I'm stopped up again with my nose.
We have not had a good, go of it lately. Like I was ill for about 2 straight weeks, and you were ill, and now you're stuffed up again. It's just,
Yeah.
What is up with the weather lately? It's been crazy. Especially, I don't know if it's been the same over there, but in the UK, it's been so windy that it's like some of these days we've had like 8 different types of weather. We've had from beautiful sunshine and warm to suddenly it's peeing down with rain, and then after that it's like massive, great big hailstones, and then it's sunny again, all in the same day, and it's just, yeah.
Are you sure that the flash fill-in, the weather wizard, isn't taking up residence in England?
I mean, it's sure felt that way. I couldn't believe it. Like, I thought it was just really, really heavy rain. I look outside and it's like, no, it's just little balls of ice bouncing all over the lawn. So yeah, just been really strange weather, and I think weather does play a role in when you're not feeling great.
Yeah.
They say that, the more depressing the weather, the more, people are actually affected by it. But anyway, today, shall we just say off the bat, this is a requested commentary episode.
Yep.
Not that you'd have to ask twice with this one, because it is one of my absolute favorites of this show. I talk about it all the time. Honestly, I'm amazed that we just haven't done this before. Maybe we did record one at some point, and somewhere it got lost in the shuffle or something. I don't know.
I don't recall us ever doing this one before.
No. Oh well, it's one of my favorite episodes, so you don't have to ask me twice. I'm excited to watch this one again. But before we actually begin this commentary, we should just let you know, if this is your first time finding us, you will not be seeing any actual clips from the episode in this commentary. This is a full uncut commentary. We will count you in with a 3, 2, 1 play, and you just have to get your own copy and hit play when we do, so you can get it in sync. We have more fun doing it this way, with it's uncut and not worrying about having to, find moments to cut into like a reaction video or something. It's like what people do on Patreon, I guess.
Yeah.
On Patreon, you get the full uncut reaction. That's kind of your bonus. It's the reason to pay. We just give it to you on YouTube anyway. So get ready. Get your DVDs sorted up. This is Superboy Season 4, Episode 13, West of Alpha Centauri. Get ready to hit play in 3, 2, 1, play. So yeah, I'm not going to really get into the intro on this one because we always do that. But yeah, one of the reasons this is one of my favorite episodes of the show is because it does remind me of Star Trek in a way. Like it feels like the kind of plot line that you could imagine Worf or Seven of Nine or even Kirk himself, or if it's Deep Space Nine, they'll probably put Chief O'Brien in this situation just because they love to torture Chief O'Brien at every opportunity they get. So, he would be the one stuck in the prison. In fact, I actually think they did that in a couple of episodes.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's a couple of Chief O'Brien prison episodes, but yeah. So here we are.
Got to say the costume design on these bomb technicians is really great. It really looks authentic for the time period.
I wonder if they were just able to rent the real thing. Might have just been, easier to rent the real thing than get an actual costumer to do it. It's an interesting looking prop as well. Just this shape, just a couple of wires on the inside, and it's Now, I'm not familiar with this actor. Is he in anything else that I should have seen? Is
I
he
don't
just cast
recall.
because he's big?
I think he was just cast because he was big.
I
Remember, he
just
has.
wondered if he was like, maybe he's like a professional wrestler or something, like Lex Luger was,
Yeah. He doesn't really even have any lines in the episode either.
No, but he's fairly recognizable because there's another bodybuilder there as well. But I mean, he's not the one you really remember in this episode.
Set design on this is really good.
I'd like to know what happens to the model for this ship. Someone, I assume someone has it at this point. Maybe it's in the Superman Museum in Metropolis or something.
Yeah, probably sitting in a box in their warehouse or something.
Yeah. If anybody out there clicked our commentary because you had something to do with this, and if you know what happened to that, please leave us a comment. Let us know, because I'd like to know if it still exists. It might have been just destroyed. I hope not. But yeah, the set design's interesting. You can tell it didn't have a super high budget, but it totally works. And there's especially like the difference between like the prison cell that we were just in and now the captain's quarters or whatever. One looks very run down and not very nice, and his quarters are clearly much bigger than they need to be. It's like there's a regality to them, and yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least that's what I think of when I see high ceilings and stuff like that. You can just tell he's got quite a large ego.
And the design on the captain's uniform and his underlings uniform is very 1940s and 50s comic
Absolutely.
book. And of course, this is the guy that we saw in Superboy Lost. The same actor.
Right. Yeah, was he the cult leader?
Yep.
Right. It's funny because in Superboy Lost, he's not the one that I was thinking looked familiar. It was one of the henchmen who I later realised actually it was because he's in the episode Paranoia as one of the aliens masquerading as agents. But I do love that they're giving this whole episode kind of an epic quality to it with the whole these old forgotten messages. You need to put water on the wall to see them, and the prophecy that of the one that would come that happens to have an S on his chest.
Yeah.
It just gives it like this whole story like an epic quality, like there's something more going on, and I always appreciate when they do that kind of world building.
Yeah, and the fact that the symbol that's on the wall, it's exactly like his chest symbol. It leads me to believe that maybe at some point a member of the House of L met them.
Or there was time travel involved, maybe. I mean,
Yeah.
the S isn't exactly alike, but it's close enough that you know exactly. Like, there's no mistaking it. But yeah, either another member of the House of L, and the fact that the symbol is slightly different might indicate that it is from quite a while ago. Like maybe the House of L's family crest evolved over time or something.
Yeah.
But it's
And
all interesting.
it really doesn't say how long they've been in the ship, but I would say
No.
at least 500 years.
Yeah, they've been there a long time. The heat vision effect worked quite well there. Occasionally it doesn't look so good, but I thought it worked there. But yeah, I see what you mean about how there is definitely a very early comic book era design to their costumes here.
Yep.
Does remind me of some of the old serials or comic books, and yeah. But then I guess this show is very Silver Age anyway.
Yeah, very Silver and very early Bronze Age.
Mm. Always like little, demonstrations of his abilities for things like this. It's like whenever I see like Clark Kent like pick up a slice of bread and use his heat vision to turn it into toast. There's something about it that just makes me chuckle.
Yeah.
But it's stuff like this. This is why this episode reminds me of Star Trek, because they're two groups that have separated within this collection of people. And from an outsider's observer, they look basically the same. And it's a nice little, just like Star Trek does. It's almost got parallels to themes of like racism and stuff like that, and how silly it is. Like the early Trek episode with the people that are like black on one side, white on the other. No one else outside of that species can recognize that there's any real difference between them. But to that species, that's why they're sworn enemies. But this episode really reminds me of episodes like that.
Also,
the style,
to a certain extent, it kind of reminds me a little bit of For the World is Hollow and I Have Touched the Sky. You know, the fact that it's a giant world ship.
Mm. The very stylish lighting reminds me of Star Trek as well, actually.
Yeah. And I like how, unlike, classic Star Trek, showing a world ship kind of thing, they're showing that these people have been there for at least 100 or 200 years. Because look at their clothes. They're tattered. They're ripped.
They're probably hand-me-downs, They probably were tattered and ripped when the person before them wore them.
Yep. And, of course, you have the opulence of the captain.
The captain just referred to his grandfather, so I'm guessing it's just at least 2 generations.
Depending upon how long they live, that is.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they're not human, so they might have extended lifespans.
And the fact that they have power, strength that rivals a Kryptonian.
Yeah, so, maybe they will live, if they don't live quite as long as Superman might potentially live, it's got to be up there.
Yeah.
I would feel sorry for the captain if he wasn't such a dickhead.
I mean, you understand his motives, but,
he's still, he could go about it completely differently. To think all this could be avoided if, all the captain did was ask Superboy for his help the moment he came on board. Just be like, I need your help. If you help me out, we'll send you home. Okay. Typically, if asked for help, Superman or Superboy obliges.
Yeah, but the thing is that, if Clark had helped these people, let's say he helped them find the perfect world that they're supposed to find. Captain's no longer in charge. So the captain has to maintain his control.
Yeah, I always forget about that bit. That he's
maybe the captain's grandfather's motives were perfect,
but he's become he's obviously selfish and just he only wants to serve his own interests. He doesn't care about anyone else.
I mean, look at the guy who serves him. He's sitting there eating and drinking, and he says, "Wipe my face," Yeah, I could definitely see this as an episode of Star Trek.
Instead of the S, it would be a Starfleet symbol on the wall.
Yeah.
I'm sure 7 of 9 had a story similar to this. Actually, I think it was. I mean, it would be similar to this if they were also forced to fight, because then it would be similar to the episode where Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson fought 7 of 9.
Yeah.
But that's obviously a part of the plot they couldn't really do on this, because they would have had to turn it into a 2-parter. They can't introduce another whole B plot in a 21-minute show.
Right.
It's funny though, because I always wondered about the species in this, because it's suggested that they are stronger than Superboy. Maybe they wouldn't be stronger than Superman, but their power level is on a similar scale to Kryptonians. It's just in terms of brute strength. So I wish that there'd been one more season just so we could have caught up with them and saw did they ever find a planet to call home. Right. Maybe that's a season 5 episode.
Definitely.
Do they ever actually say the name of the planet they were from in this episode that you remember?
Nope.
But I'm guessing their original planet was destroyed, and that's why they're now looking for a new one. Something like that.
Destroyed it. They made it, ecologically. Again, there's your Star Trek reference right there. If this was an hour-long episode, he probably would have been sitting there for longer thinking about, what west of Alpha Centauri means.
It's the thing about most episodes of Superboy. I wish that it had like a 42-minute runtime. Just so it'd be, just like Lois and Clark, they did well with the 42-minute slot. What was the name of the planet that Mon-El was from?
Daxam.
Maybe season 5 we reveal that these people are from Daxam. Maybe the reason their planet's uninhabitable is because Krypton blew up and its chunks from it have hit the surface and completely destroyed huge segments of the land or whatever. Who knows? But no, I really like this Captain character though. He does remind me of an original series Star Trek villain. Like, not so much TNG, but definitely TOS.
Yeah, I could definitely see Kirk in this position.
I guess they do fight, so I mean it is quite similar to the 7 of 9 thing, except instead of fighting the Rock, he's fighting I don't know, Sinbad. And yeah, if it was DS9, it would definitely be Chief O'Brien because,
or maybe Dr. Bashir,
maybe,
because they did like to torture him too.
True. Not nearly enough as they did with Miles, though. You know, they were torturing Miles O'Brien even when he was still on TNG.
Yeah.
I mean, they tortured him just by the way they wrote his wife. Being married to Keiko, that's the biggest torture the Star Trek writers ever gave him.
Although the torture with Keiko didn't get bad until it got on Deep Space Nine.
True. I still found her irritating, though, in TNG. See, I love this sequence. They realise that, you know, no one, like, any one of them would not be able to break those bars and push that thing down. But together, they're strong enough. Like, you know, the captain kept them divided, and it's just great. Stronger together. I do just love this episode. Maybe it's just because, you know, I'm a fan of sci-fi in general, and it's a very sci-fi episode, but genuinely, I think this is a really solid episode.
Yeah. The only problem that I really have with the episode is the end sequence. Because, you know, looking at the captain right now, he doesn't seem to be delusional.
No, but at the end, he's like, I know the way. It's like,
yeah, that it seems a little off that end sequence.
I mean, he's got to be slightly. I mean, I imagine just the years of being in that position to finally have it all fall down. I don't know, maybe he would have some sort of mental break, but it feels like there's a missing scene where they, like, I don't know, put him in some, or just put a little subtitle at the bottom that says like 1 year later that shows he's been in that prison for quite some time, something like that, to explain the sudden shift.
Yeah, because I mean, even all the scenes leading up to this, he doesn't seem to be, you know, mentally lost.
Yeah, he seems corrupt. He doesn't seem crazy.
He seems corrupt and arrogant, but, you know, not insane.
Although he does point out that he never knew that west of Alpha Centauri wasn't actually a thing. Like, he didn't know that it was just a bullshit made up thing. So maybe when he finds out the truth that actually, even though he thinks it's west of Alpha Centauri, when he finds out actually he doesn't know anything, maybe that's enough to cause the break. But I don't know.
Yeah.
It feels like there's a scene missing that explains why he's had such a mental break.
Yeah, I mean, it's like a lot of episodes of the show, you know, because they had to fit that 22, 23 minute, you know, runtime. They had to cut some things out that would have made it work.
Like, you know, we said the same thing when we watched Microboy. It feels like there's a scene missing.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, it feels like that with a few episodes of Superboy across the run, because I think it's just because it's such a short show, and because you know, some of these stories really could have been extended. You know,
I mean, what I think about this episode is if there are some stuff missing, which obviously there is.
It feels like there is. Even if they never shot anything that should have been there, it feels like maybe something was cut from the script or something.
Yeah. I mean, what they could have done is, instead of, you know, all the clip shows that we had in season 4, cut out one of the clip shows.
Make this a 2-parter.
Yeah.
Yeah. That would have been so much better. Like too many clip shows. I mean, that's one of the things. That's why I always say season 4 is not as good as season 3, despite having some really great episodes like this one. But
Yeah,
you know,
because I mean, look, you got Who is Superboy and Cat and Mouse, both clip shows, right back to back, you know, and then you got two-parters right here. You got To Be Human, West of Alpha Centauri, and then Threesome, right? You know, so maybe putting another two-parter right there.
They could just move it to a different point in the season, though. It's not like there's anything that gets referenced the next episode. They could just move it in the season, just push it back, or maybe have it a little bit earlier. There's a ton of ways they could have done it, but it is what it is, you know. Still a really good episode, despite that small thing. Maybe if throughout the episode when he's like you could have the captain like he's watching Superboy and his influence in the cell. So maybe if over the course of the episode, as he's watching Superboy putting everything he's got in jeopardy, you could have him slowly over the course of the episode get more and more unhinged until by the end he is crazy. Just because he's, you know, as a result of just seeing what Superboy's doing to take his power away, basically. You know, if they built up to it, it could have worked. It's just, you're right. It's such a drastic shift from literally the moment before it. It doesn't quite feel organic enough. But yeah, I think that's the only thing I would say about this episode that I dislike. You know, do I wish they had a little bit more money for the set design? Absolutely, but I don't think it hurt the episode.
If this was, you know, if this was a Star Trek episode, you know that they would have put in the time and effort to build a really good set.
For
the underground, you know, prison.
Or at the very least, they'd have some green screen shots and stuff like that to extend the set outwards. You know, Star Trek is, you know, that every time they went onto a Borg cube or something in like Voyager or whatever, you know, it's mostly they'd have like a walkway with a railing. Behind it, you could tell it was just a green screen because they wanted to have like, you know, all the Borg in the background, like in their regeneration things. But yeah, so, you know, a little bit more money, they perhaps could have made it a little bit more impressive to look at. But I really don't think it hurt the episode. I think it's a perfectly fine episode. It's a lot of fun. It's still one of my favorites, and you know, it's one I'll watch again many times. You know, it is one of my favorite episodes. And you know, if we ever have anyone that was in this episode on the channel, maybe we'll watch it again and do a commentary with them. But yeah, we'll have to see. I'll see if I can get in touch with any of the actors from this and get them on the show, because I think that would be pretty fun.
Yeah,
but, we'll see how it goes. But
the only other thing that I think hurts this is, you know, Stacy almost has nothing to do in it. You know.
Yeah.
But you know, other than
it
the fact
almost makes you wonder why she's on the ship, because she doesn't do much once she's there.
Yeah.
I mean, if she wasn't there, Superboy wouldn't have that nice scene where he's heating up the water on the spoon. Like, I like that scene enough that, yeah. I wish Stacey had a little bit more to do. If the episodes were longer, maybe she would have done. But maybe it would have been nice even to have Stacey be the one to realise, wait, there's no West in space. Like, that could have been nice. Just give her that moment. Have her be the one that works that out. That would have solved that problem for me completely, because maybe she doesn't do very much, but what she does do is significant.
Yeah, this definitely, you know, as good of an episode as it is, it could have used another polish, you know, just to switch some things around, you know.
I think that's just the thing with television, though, isn't it? You know, TV, it has to be done quickly. It has to be written faster than a movie. You don't have nearly as much time to focus on the script.
Yeah, but if this had either been a two-parter or, you know, an hour-long show, it probably would have been so much better. Absolutely.
But yeah, I don't really have much else to say. I feel like I've said about all I needed to on this episode. I thought all the actors did a good job. The guy that played the captain, it's not his fault that it was such a drastic shift at the very end. That feels more like something that was scripted rather than anything on his acting. I thought he played the part of the egotistical and corrupt captain of this starship. I thought he played he was great, you know?
Yeah.
I totally bought into who that character is supposed to be. And it just worked for me. But anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Be sure to tune in again next week, where we'll be doing another commentary for you, which will be the episode from season 2, Brimstone. One I've not seen in a very long time, so looking forward to watching it again. Thanks all so much. Be sure to like, share, subscribe, leave us some comments and stuff. If you have any requests for more episodes you'd like us to talk about, whether it's on a commentary or as like a in-depth discussion as an actual podcast episode, let us know. We always like to do our requests. This episode today was requested.
Yep.
Be sure to like, share, subscribe. And I'll see you next time.